Hello and welcome to a new series in our author interviews routine on Amazon. We're on Facebook, and of course we are live on Amazon, where we always love to be and where we love to interview our authors. And today I'm very privileged to be joined by the lovely Julia Paulette Hollenbury, and she's been described, I've written it down, as an expert in the power of happiness, joy and relationship. She's a mystic, a body worker, a all-round very, very lovely person. She's great to talk to, and I'm absolutely delighted to interview her today. And she has an amazing new book out. Julia, thank you very much for joining me. How the devil are you? Do tell us how's life in sunny, but I'm not sure where you are actually.
I'm in North London, and right now it actually is gloriously sunny, but 20 minutes ago it was raining, so here we are in England.
Cool, no problem. Well, you have a book that is already out on Amazon for Kindle, paperback, audio as well, but it'll be released in the UK, we believe, on the 9th of December, The Healing Power of Pleasure. So first of all, before we talk about the book, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, about your history, what it is that you do?
I really wanted to answer your question by saying I'm a human. That's who I am. I'm a human. I am a body worker. Professionally, I'm a body worker, which means that I work with people with a mixture of conversation and hands-on touch, and I've been doing that for about 25 years.
Wow.
And you ask historically, and I'm not quite sure what you mean by historically. I can say all sorts of different things.
Well, that's okay. So you're a body worker. So can you give us a little bit more explanation about body working? How does that really work? Because I am a simple man, so I'd imagine lots of other people will know and understand it. But for me, body work, that's something that you have on a car.
And I know you're a little bit versed in the healing arts yourself, Nick. So I guess there are many ways to make healing interventions in the professional relationship between the therapist and the client. And some of those are energetic, some of them are in the form of verbal dialogue, and some of them are mediated, negotiated through touch, usually of the hands on the body of the client. And all of the work is aimed at unraveling, dissolving defensive patterns, old patterns, old stuck patterns, so that the real vitality of a person's soul can shine through, so that a person can be comfortable in their own skin and comfortable in their own body and really living their best self.
Lovely and lovely. And what? And is it a many varied client base that would come to you?
Gosh, over the years I've worked with a great variety of people, mostly adults, some teenagers, um, and people from a variety of backgrounds and with a variety of symptoms or issues that were bothering them. So some people who were frustrated at work or disappointed at work, or were struggling with communication issues with their partners or their children, or they had a shoulder ache or a back ache, or they couldn't sleep, or they weren't happy with their body in one form or another, or they had been too much caught up in the world of thoughts and really needed to return to the reality of living life in their body and relating with others in the practical material reality of the world.
That's amazing. It's so true. And when I was flipping through your book over the last couple of weeks, it's interesting. But we talk about, or certainly you talk about the fact that we're living in a very interruptive space. So with constant pulls on our time, and we don't have the moment as well. So it's those sort of things that you being able to tap into, and so allowing us to give ourselves that time that we need in order to center ourselves. And
Yeah, modernity is crazy, really. Modernity is not set up for our best health and best happiness. We are constantly interrupted by the pings and the dings and the latest updates, and working with many devices at the same time. We are all overstimulated, over interrupted. Really hard to be able to stay with ourselves and with our own thread and with our own focus, and therefore to be able to really enjoy the present moment as fully as we might want to.
yeah, exactly. I think we spend so much time. It was you definitely mentioned it in the book. We spend so much time either worrying about things that have happened in the past, or worrying about things that haven't happened but we potentially could happen in the future, and totally missing the point of being in the now, which is all that we actually have. It's great. So Julia, please do tell us. I mean, this is all about your book. For the guys on Amazon, it's in the carousel, so you can click on the book and check it out while we're chatting. So Julia, tell us what motivated you to write your book. I mean, it's very good.
Thanks. Well, as a child, I always knew that I would write a book. I always knew that I would write a book. And in fact, I remember my brother saying to me one day out of the blue that he knew that one day in the future I would write a book, and I've never told him. Half a lifetime ago, I sat down and wrote a raw, emotional rant, really. One poem, one poem from that first draft made it into the final version. And as I was writing that great emotional outpouring, I knew that someday in the future I would be more evolved or more healed, and I would write the second part of that. And that's exactly how it came to pass. A few years ago, I sat down to write this book. I can't tell you what precipitated that. And I was writing day and night, really, some kind of focused, outpouring. And I wrote because there is something that my heart knows and wants to share. It's been the same message all through my life that I have wanted to share with people. And I wrote for all those people who, like me, have felt lost and alone, and perhaps at times without hope. And I want people to know that without doubt, it is possible to heal and change and shift yourself and your life, that it is absolutely possible to make the transformational journey from suffering and difficulty to relaxation and delight.
Lovely. And I mean, yeah, when you suddenly found yourself without hope, and yeah, I've been there. Was that when you wrote about that? Is that something that was you think you had to go through, or was it something that you went through in order to actually be able to share it?
There have been many times in my life where I have found things to be really difficult, not just one patch.
Mm.
I think that things were not easy for me when I was a small person, when I was a child. And growing up as a teenager, as a young adult, I also had very difficult times when I really wasn't sure what was quite the right thing to do. how to be, what decisions to take, really what would happen next. And yet, out of all of those difficult times, there is also a treasure that comes forth. You know, out of each of those difficult times, there is a learning or a discovery or a positive movement or something forged through the crucible of that great difficulty. So when we're in the midst of it, it feels like there's no hope.
Yeah.
But with
But
enough resource, we can make it through, and afterwards we can see that indeed it was useful.
yeah, because everything has a learning outcome, doesn't it? And that's, you know, when it, but when you're in that hole of despair, it can be very, I mean, it is very, very difficult to see a way out.
Yeah, it's impossible. And it wouldn't be despair if there wasn't that lack of hope, right? Like when it's difficult, it's really difficult. And we have to really feel that difficulty. We have to be in the difficulty. We have to struggle. We have to lose it and be frustrated in order to find ourselves again. It's inevitable. Sometimes I think that the wisdom of older age is merely that we've all, been through that enough times to know that the difficulty can change, to know that there is another side, even if we can't see it at the time when we're in the desperation, to know that it is part of life's ups and downs that is always changing.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And so with the book, I mean, you had it as a rant early on in your life, and then evolved it and wrote it. But the concept of the healing power of pleasure, where did that concept come from? Is that something that you'd learned, or?
The book was originally titled The Universe of Deliciousness. And as you know, the book is written about the entry into the universe of deliciousness. I think that when I was younger, I looked around and saw that actually lots of people, lots of the adults, seemed to me to be miserable. And as a child, I knew that there was a great deal more possible than I saw lots of people living. I knew without doubt I would spend lots of time in the garden. I'd be immersed, with the earth and the plants and the insects and the big blue sky and the trees and the deliciousness, the pleasure. So it's kind of a mixture of being the places where I've been lost and have struggled to find things, and the places where deep in me I've always known the bounty that is possible. And, we all want to live it, right? We all deserve to live it. We need to live it. Not selfishly, but generously.
Oh, I love it. I love it, and it's great. We've got Corinda watching on Facebook, asking what was your goal for the book. That was a good question, Corinda.
Um, in the process of writing, I in the process of writing was the articulation of what needed to be said in order that the people who need to read it can comprehend. And so there wasn't like a mind agenda, a mind goal, a business goal. It wasn't written like that. It was written from this impulse, from this deep knowing that something, a message wants to be shared, in this case through me, and a sense that it needs to go out widely into the world to be read and enjoyed and I hope benefited by the people who need to read it. So my goal is to hopefully spread uplift and inspiration and grounding, embodying, functioning delightfulness. Because wouldn't it be amazing the more and more of us that can really be happy and to co-create together a world where we are sparking happiness and joy and delightfulness and deliciousness between ourselves rather than the way that it too often is.
Oh, absolutely. I think I was often told, and I believe, our default position, even as babies, is happiness, isn't it? We come into the world and we want to be happy and warm and I've got a little nephew at the moment. Charlie's only a few weeks old, and yeah, he's certainly his default position at the moment is gurgling and giggling. Unless there's something else going on. But
I remember when my daughter was the baby, and I remember her laughing, and the books would say, babies can't laugh, but I remember my daughter laughing with delight. And I think that all babies and children beings come in full of love, and they want to offer that love, and they want to be seen and acknowledged and witnessed in their beingness, in their loving, and not shut down by criticism or judgment. They want to be free to share their gifts, don't we all?
exactly, absolutely. We all have gifts, and we're just constrained by, well, we're taught, aren't we, at an early age to hide our light under a bushel, effectively, because in the guise of protection, and it's that hard work to then unprotect and have the confidence that what you're taught as a child, actually when you're an adult, that doesn't really count. You're fully responsible for how you feel, in my view.
Yeah, well, that's the great work, and that's what I hope the book will guide people to do, to unpack both the personal conditioning and masks, right, and habits of survival, of pretending to be something in order to fit in, and the cultural layers of that as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Those big messages from the society.
exactly. And in your book, you have it in sections. So you have like the mess, and then the magic, and then the medicine.
Right.
And so, do you want to talk us through a little bit about the medicine? What's without telling everyone what's in the book, because obviously you need to read it and absorb it and live it.
Well, I'll say a tiny bit about the mess and magic. Mess is kind of obvious, right? The world is how it is, right? It's and magic is the hope, is the beauty that is possible, and the medicines are, I think, both inspirational and really practical, drawing from a wealth of um, spiritual traditions, from my experience of working with clients, from, as I said, what my heart has always known. And the seven medicines are flow, body, depth, relationship, pleasure, power, and potency. And each one builds on the next to take somebody through a journey of being much more relaxed and out of the anxious, judgmental, fast thoughts and really into being here and now with others.
And is that is that something that you, I'm not, obviously you embody that, and that's what you've written, but is it always, or does it continue to be a struggle? Do you have to check yourself, or do you find it, as you've been living it for so long, has it come more naturally?
When I was planning the book, it was absolutely clear what the medicines were. Absolutely clear. except for the last one, which is potential. And that one I really had to seek for to find. Um, so, yes, they are the ways in which I live and the ways that I work with my clients. And potential is really the ignition of the magic, is some technologies and some ways of um, getting out of the way, really, finding the middle path, the neutral middle path, so that the magic of life can unfold through each of us.
Wow. And can I ask how? Obviously, it was a book you said you had to write, but from what were the struggles you had to physically get it into a book? So for someone that's never been a published author, what can you tell us a little bit about the process you had to go through? Were there any struggles you had to overcome to actually get it to a publisher? I know so many people that have gone down a self-publishing route because they couldn't get a publisher on board supporting them. Were there any struggles you had to overcome there? Or can you tell us a little bit about that journey?
Well, yes, in the beginning, I sent it out I sent my book proposal out to a few publishers and was rejected. And then I set out one day to visit the London Book Fair.
Okay.
And I remember that morning being very excited, exceptionally excited. That didn't make any kind of sense. And I went there and I kind of followed this energetic thread, and it felt as if I was being guided to speak to this person and then to this person. And I was invited to speak to this person. And the London Book Fair is this massive place, in Olympia with, rows and columns. And I remember my body stopped at just exactly the right place to meet the right person. And then at the beginning of lockdown, I received a wonderful email,
Oh,
but it absolutely felt, the energy of that day absolutely felt like the phrase I used was that I was not the choreographer of my own life. I was not the author of my own life. It felt like it was being taken. So that part was really easy. And it's true. It's as far as I know, it's quite unheard of for people. Yeah, I'm very, very grateful.
I know, and so many people, when I hear this so often, is that rejection stage at the beginning, and that can just, and I guess that must stop so much. That must stop so much wonderful work being put out to the world, because people get that rejection and they just go back into their shell and think, oh, it could be just one or two, and actually, the rejection is irrelevant at the end of the day. It's just something that you kind of understand and go through.
Um, I was prepared to self-publish. I mean, today there's the wonderful world of self-publishing, so actually anybody can write something and get it out there. We're not, budding authors are not limited by the conventional publishing industry, and what they write can be picked up later by it. So I think we live in a rather amazing time for that, where everyone can give expression if they want to, if that's their form.
Yeah, no, I think that's wonderful. And is that one of the reasons that you're actually published on Amazon as well? Obviously, we're on Amazon live as we speak, and was that one of the reasons, or was there other reasons that you've gone the Amazon route?
I think my publisher put it there.
Well, that sounds like a pretty shrewd publisher, because this is Amazon is a most amazing place for self-publishing, as you say. But if you have a publisher as well, I guess the publisher does a lot of the heavy lifting for you as well, to take an element of stress away from you with promotion and actually distribution, getting your message out there. Because that's one of the things with self-publishing that I know people do struggle with, is they're able to publish, but then they have to get the book found do countless book tours, and right now, obviously, you know, if you are, I'm assuming you are publishing. Have you got any tours lined up with the COVID issue constantly rearing its head? Have you changed the way you're promoting the book?
Um, well, I've done a lot of podcast interviews and I've been writing a lot of articles. Next year, I will be visiting, I hope, some bookshops and doing real life talks. I'm doing a number of online talks and workshops, and I'm looking forward to meeting real people, not just on Zoom, but in bookshops and places. And yeah, there's fun things lined up for next year. I'll be doing workshops. I'll really be teaching the book as well. Um, so for those who would like to go deeper
No,
and really be immersed in the teachings, that will be possible. Um, yeah.
no, I love that, and that was you. You kind of read my mind as to what one of my next questions was going to be, and that was from the book. And obviously, you know, it's beautifully laid out. Not from I'm not talking as a, you know, beautiful pictures and stuff, but the
I'll try and do a
process.
little flick. Let's see if that will work. Let's see.
I'll go for it. There you go. And if you're watching, you're having to read that very fast and backwards at the same time.
Oh, did it not work? Well,
It's really good. But yes, of course, you know, most people, or a lot of people, you know, they have a book, and it's taking the issue. I think is always being how people read a book, but how do you actually internalize that information? And so one of the reasons, or one of the best ways to internalize it, is to then have it taught and experience it. So that was going to be my next question was, yeah, is this now going to become a course as well, or the backdrop for a course and workshops? And is that what the future holds for Julia?
for me and for those who would like to discover this way, slow body depth, relationship, pleasure, power, and potency. It contains a great deal. So, in the book, there is a feast of some 50 practical exercises. Um, and I am really looking forward to. I mean, I loved writing it, right? I really love guiding people into really being in their body and guiding people into really what makes, you know, a juicy, fun, light relationship. And to do it in person, I think will really be tremendous fun for me, and I hope for the participants.
Yeah.
Of course, the energetic transmission will be that much stronger.
Yeah, for sure. And is it could you give us an example of maybe one of the empowering practices of powerfulness, or of fulfillment, or is there one you could just, is there a nice easy one that you could just walk us through? I hate to
um,
put you on the spot.
There's loads, but where I go to in this moment is kind of to, okay, let's do something really simple, right? First of all, let's get comfortable in our chairs. Will you join along with me, Nick, as well? We
Oh,
will
absolutely.
feel our feet on the ground and our bottoms on the chair. And let's sense into our shoulders, into the stress that we all hold in our shoulders. And let's be willing to play and explore that a little bit. So I invite you to increase the tension that's there in your shoulders. So I'm starting to do that already. So my shoulders are becoming narrower and they're rising up towards my ears as I amplify that pattern of stress and tension that exists for most of us between our heads and our bodies. So make it really, really strong. Don't hold your breath, keep breathing. There you go, make it really, really, really strong. And then when it's at the peak, oh, you look like you're enjoying yourself, Nick. Great. When you're at your peak, you can let it go, you can release it and take a big breath. And if you feel movement, allow the movement to happen, whatever it may be. Take some big breaths, because all of us, of course, sit for so long in front of our computers.
That is so true.
And now see if you can sense what's in your body now. And I'm making these movements, but you might have something quite different, the impulses in your body. The main thing is to breathe and to move as feels natural. Absolutely, a bit of that's great. Go for it. And yeah, and then tell me how you feel after a little bit of that.
I got to admit, when you first started and said, "Oh, you had to get more and more tense," and I was thinking, "Oh, crikey, I wasn't expecting it to go that way." But yeah, from tensing, and also thank you for reminding me to breathe. That was to carry on breathing. That was very important. But yeah, from making yourself more tense, and then to being able to let it out, it's almost like you can feel your blood flowing, and you can feel that energy. And that's why I was doing that in my hand, because I felt energy in my fingers and tingling from
I think
that.
that very often in modernity we mistake what is relaxation, and we think that staring at yet another digital device is relaxing, or we think that we need to do nothing. But actually, sometimes we need to actively do something, and something with our bodies, not just something with our minds, in order to really relax. Certainly, I feel better for having done that little thing. I can feel more energy in my feet and in my pelvis.
Yeah,
So
you
I was
do.
glad to do it.
No, I think that was great. And one of the things that we do as live streamers, before we go live streaming, is yeah, we will go like that with our. I just shouldn't have done that on live on air, but yeah, these are
No, but it's
tips.
great, all that stuff, because it breaks the mask, right? It breaks the masks that we all think that we need to show.
I know, yeah, this one needs a bit of breaking, I was just say, but yeah, and it does. It gives you energy. That's why I believe
Because
I'm not an actor.
the energy, you used the word protective earlier, and the energy gets stuck in our protection, in our self-defense. And that energy can be liberated for our happiness and our pleasure and our joy.
Oh no, I love that. I love that. And do you have is the book targeted at a specific age group or type of person, or is it or for anybody that has arrived or wants to learn more?
I imagine that people who are curious will find their way to the book. I remember being in cafes many times and just quietly writing, and people noticed. So there are people who really want to know more about the art and craft of living, and I did. I mean, I've been on a great big spiritual journey for a great big healing journey, a great big transformational journey for decades. And I think there are lots of people out there, particularly with the difficulty that we're all going through, who want to find out more about resilience and confidence, and how to make good relationships, and how to look after their body, and how to really love themselves, so that it's something practical and not just something abstract. So it could be, who knows, could be a business person with heart, or a teacher, or a therapist, or, so many people from so many different backgrounds, I imagine, who have, the spark, will find their way to enjoying this. At least I hope so.
Yes, and I think it would be for many people. I think it would be a big help, like a huge teaching aid as well. Because the more that people get to understand some of the techniques that you have, and just to be able to see, people, you said about, writing, and people were interested in what you were writing in, but then to see someone actually, embodying that is inspirational, because, that is, I think deep down, that is what we all aspire to, but sometimes we're just too scared to take that first little step, or don't even know where to take that first little step, where to see that signpost.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is signposts and hints and glimpses, right? And I
Mm.
remember back decades ago when I would see somebody who had something, they had a quality that I wanted. And that whet my appetite. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to follow them and see what it is. What have they done to get what they've got? Because I want a bit of that for myself. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and so, slightly off topic, but what is it that you love to do, Julia, for your own fun when you're relaxing? Is there anything that you specifically like to do, or something that takes you to that place where you're in that beautiful happy place?
Well, it turns out that I actually really love writing, and although writing is also full of struggles at times, there's also an amazing flow, and I do genuinely love writing. But I also love dancing. I'm a great dancer. Again, the life of the body. Um, I love people, I have to say, and I love being in the great outdoors, by the oceans or by forests.
Oh,
Nature
nice.
is amazing. Um, and I think people are amazing too. Um, and I like being at home as well. Uh, Life is good, and there's much to be grateful for. Um,
Oh, that
yeah.
is so true. This, I often hear it, and I often do it myself, and that is, living with massive gratitude is, be grateful for everything. So I think sometimes we, as we say, modernity, it kind of skewers our vision, and maybe, stops us thinking about the actual joy of where we are. The joy of life itself.
In a way, the book is all about returning again and again, because we do all get distracted and lost, but returning again and again to the here and now, and to the small details, to the crackle and the beauty of the fire, to the colours and the deliciousness of the food, to the wonderfulness of the pets and the children and the uh, plants in the garden, the detailing of the colour of the cushions in the sofa, the textures of the wood that give us pleasure. It is about coming back again and again and again to enjoying the sensate, subtle, sensitive, sensual, spiritual reality of life again and again. And when we are, stressed, and we're all stressed, right, with the deadlines, to come back again and again, out of the head, into the body, deepening, coming into relationship, finding the sensual pleasure, finding our empowerment, and really living the potential. So life is rich. I think life is incredibly rich. And most of the time, we're missing the moment, we're missing the connections with other people. And it really doesn't cost anything to come back and find it again and enjoy it again. And we can. We really can.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. I love how you just describe, I think you are, obviously a wordsmith uh, as well, which does help being an author. But yeah, the deliciousness, and that's it's an empowering word, I think. Do you have, the obvious next question is, obviously, you have this book that is out now. Are you thinking of having follow-up books, more books? Are there more books in you, Julia?
Yes, there are already simmering other ideas that I would like to write about. But first, this book has its life to really live and to really reach the people. You see, if we can all live with more pleasure and more satisfaction, we will create a kinder, more beautiful, more sustainable world, a healthier world. And and there's lots of detail in that. I can riff and will riff. I'm sure in the future I will write more. But for right now, I think this is plenty to be helping people to find the pleasure. It's been a difficult year. It's been a difficult 2 years, right? And we all need the comfort and the delight of the pleasure. So whatever I'm going to write in the future is going to be an extension of these ideas. The book itself is pretty dense. It's rich with ideas. So I'm not giving anything away. I'm heading, but I have a couple of documents here that have got a few notes on them for future books.
I love it. I think it's that process, isn't it? As well as you go through a process and then you think, oh, hang on, and you just having ideas and sparking them just sparks more ideas, and it's a constant. It gets on that constant cycle then of thinking, it just puts you in that framework. So I can't believe we've been chatting so long. It's flown by. So how can people get more of you, Julia? How can people get in touch with you? Exactly.
Oh, my website is called The Universe of Deliciousness. I'm on social media like most people, and the book is available everywhere that books are sold. And I would love to hear from people. So yeah.
Exactly. You get that feedback. Well, Julia, it's been an absolute delight getting to know you more, talking about your book, doing the tensing and the relaxing. That was marvelous. Yeah, I love that. I say you might have to have another interview and just go through a few, but we don't want to take the book away. So you need to go and get the book. So everyone, it's been great. The book, if you're watching on Amazon, is in the carousel, so just have to click on that. We'll put in the comments, in the descriptions, we will add in Julia's website addresses and links to get copies of the book as well. As a parting thought, Julia, is there anything that you would like to give people or encourage people to do in order to find this pleasure, the healing power of the pleasure?
It is always possible to find pleasure. Whatever the difficulty, there is always pleasure to be found. Whether it is, a coffee with cream or a turmeric latte or a delicious piece of cake or the sensation in your own forearm or a finger or your face or a smile exchanged with a stranger, there is always pleasurableness to be found. And then you can expand more and more pleasure. And we talked at the beginning about the ups and downs of life, and riding that wave of the ups and downs, staying with yourself with kindness and gentleness and respect, produces a kind of delicious pleasurableness. And I really hope that we all find our way to nourish ourselves with many different kinds of pleasure.
Oh, fantastic, Julia. That is lovely. Well, Julia Paul Hollenbury, what can I say? It's been an absolutely pleasure interviewing you, getting to know you, and everyone, you really want to go and buy Julia's book, the Healing Power of Pleasure, and
Medicines for rediscovering the innate joy of being. Sorry to interrupt you, Nick.
I love it. No, that's the tagline.
Where that came from.
No, that couldn't have been better. That was amazing. So that was it. So we just now, all we have to say is a heartfelt thank you and goodbye. And if Julia, you'll just hang on, I will just stop the stream.
Thank you very much. Can I just thank you